Hello everyone. Welcome back to Talk to Health YouTube channel. And today we are back with another guest. What makes this episode special? It's quite a different from our other episodes. You would have seen that very cliche kind of careers that we were talking about, although they all are very important. But the kind of inspirations that we'd be talking today are quite different, although they are quite mandatory as well. पहले हम डॉक्टर से मिले, इंजीनियर से मिले, कंप्यूटर साइंटिस्ट से मिले, लेकिन आज हम एक थोड़े डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ बंदे से मिलेंगे जिसके थोड़े डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ एस्पिरेशंस भी हैं. So let us welcome with us Arshid Feroze. Hi Arshid, how are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful podcast, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And I'm doing great, actually. Been making sure that I make this quarantine productive. How are things at your end?
Thank you so much. We are quite manageable. Jumping into why Feroz is here and why actually, Arshad's little introduction. So, Arshad is basically right now an undergraduate psychology student. He is a seventh semester undergraduate student of psychology at Comsat University, Islamabad. But what makes him special is that he is also running a very successful NGO, a kind of organization that works for the street children that comes by the name of Street Children Pakistan. So we would say that Arshid is a philanthropist, a book lover, a kind of philosopher as well. We would dive into those things later on. But the purpose of having Arshid on board is to see that what we can do if we aspire to help the humanity, to help the people around us, and if we have goals to actually make our lives more productive, how can we do that? Because हम ये बातें तो करें बनने के लिए कौन सी चीजें इम्पोर्टेंट हैं या कौन सी चीजें देखनी चाहिए, इंजीनियरिंग के लिए कौन से कोर्सेज देखने चाहिए, बट व्हाट नोबडी टेल्स यू दैट इज के अगर आप किसी की हेल्प करना चाहें तो आप एक प्रॉपर वे में कैसे उस चीज को प्लान आउट कर सकते हैं. And that would be what we will be talking with Arshad. Arshad is right now running an organization that comes by the name of Street Children Pakistan, which actually strives to work for the children actually on the street, and they're to eradicate the hunger and the other problems that with them. Definitely we'll dive in them with Arshad. So Arshad, starting with tell us a little about yourself as well as your organization. That would be really great if that comes from you.
Thank you, Wanya. You're kind with your words, and again, I want to thank you for inviting me. So there's nothing much to say of myself because I'm just an undergraduate student trying to learn and trying to understand philosophy. So I'll for now. And as far as my organization goes, so I want you to note that there are other amazing people that are working with us in this organization. Of course, mainly when this idea came from, and the whole thing, it was me. But right now, as you go toward a certain goal, you meet people whom you never met. You find a common ground, a common purpose, and then you connect with that purpose. So you don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to be family related with them, but all you have to do is have a common purpose, and then all of these people, they work in a very beautiful harmony to make things happen. So I've been just, I think, very fortunate in that situation. So I'm lucky enough to be in a position that I'm in right now. So and as far as so sorry, I kind of lost track of your question. You wanted to ask me what was the work of my organization, right? Like of what we do.
Yeah, what is?
Okay.
Just tell us briefly that what it is about, what you guys are doing, what projects and stuff.
Okay, so Street Children Pakistan. So you see, it started when I was still in my second semester in university, and I always, this idea that would stuck with me, that how do I balance my life from where I come from a very remote area, and then I moved into this huge city, and I was surprised by these people and the luxurious lives here and the people that are fortunate enough to live. So I wanted to find a place where I can balance these things, and what could I do to make my being in this universe as useful as I can be. So I thought about different ways, and there has been millions of organizations, and there's been organizations who are doing amazing, tremendous work. So it kind of makes you hopeless as well, that oh my god, there are so many organizations, they're doing amazing, what do I need to do? But then again, all you have to think about is, what is something that they are not doing that you want to do? This one different thing, that is what gets you started actually. So what we do is we focus on immediate relief to single mothers who have children who they cannot afford to send to school or to any type of, and hence they are forced in some way to send them to labor. So to prevent that from happening, we are providing immediate relief to these families. We are supporting students with education. We are supporting orphanages with food. We are supporting people with disabilities. We are supporting people in villages with water access, providing them access to clean drinking water. We have built around 160 water pumps in Santa Parker. So we are doing everything that we can to make sure that these women who are single mothers, who have more challenges than as an average man, more challenges to compared to other people, we want to focus on helping them so they can at least have something, some load, some weight, some stress off their back. So it's just a small initiative, but what I'm really proud of, and what I'm really glad to have, is consistency on our end. Like, we are very consistent with our work. It's been 2 years, we haven't stopped. We have been non-stop. If it's raining, if it's Eid, if it's Ramadan, if it's any time, we are doing what we can to help these people. And the thing is, again, I cannot forget to not mention those people that financially support us with whatever they have, because they are the real heroes. All the credit goes to them. I would be nothing if people weren't open enough and didn't have this generous phenomenon about them. Like, it is surprising to me how amazing and kind we can be. This is why I think I have the humanistic approach in psychology as well. I'm not really critical on that side.
That's really amazing, and that's so inspiring in itself. And I can see that you have built, I have seen you build, start from the scratch and, build a, a compact organization with compact network. So gonna talk about what was behind this organization, or we would say what was inspiration, how you was there any certain belief, any incident, or idea that compelled you that you have to start something like this? So what was that?
Mm-hmm. So that's a question I usually get a lot. That's a question I get asked often a lot, and to be honest, it is not just one incident. It was a combination of many incidents that I had personally come in contact with and that I had witnessed that led me to believe that perhaps there is something that I could do. And I think there are religious motives for this as well. I mean, at the end of the day, my religious beliefs indicate and encourages me to perform these acts, and I firmly believe that there are rewards for me in this work at the end of this universe and afterlife. But these are personal beliefs. But aside from that, this work, there have incidents. Like, for instance, there was this woman back in like 2 years ago, and I saw her one day sitting on the road, and when I walked up to her, and I noticed there was like little some change on her. She had a blanket on, and there was some change and some money. So I noticed that maybe she's begging, but she didn't look like someone that would beg, because she had comparatively clean clothes and everything. So I intended to ask about what's the story, and like, maybe if there's some mistake, why are these people giving her money? Upon asking, she revealed to me that she lost her husband, she lost her son to drug addiction, she had lost almost all the family members of her, and she had only one daughter, and she had no means to support her, because of course there was no education or nothing like that at all. So she said, if I can get enough food to eat, I would not come out and ask people for money. So I said, if that is your problem, then we can do something about it. So I remember that was the time that I really got the motivation to start it. And then I had some of my friends and my class fellows in university, and I talked to them if maybe somebody can spare some change, and then we all put together some little money, and then it was enough for this woman. And now I'm proud to say that even after years and years, we are still helping that woman. And sadly, unfortunately, she lost that one daughter she had as well. So it was really really tragic. But again, and I wanna point out there are other instances like this as well. So there was this other woman who had no means of earning anything for herself. She had no education. So what we did, we took another a client, right? We took a client who knew how to do the tailoring work and the sewing machine work. So we made sure that she teaches to other women who can then empower themselves and work and perhaps earn money for them. So because you see, there are local means to earning as well. You cannot always prefer education, because if a woman is in her 30s or 40s, she's way past education at that point. So you have to find local means for her to be able to bounce back from these adversities. So then we, for instance, like in a village, we will we can buy a cow for someone, and then she can sell the cow's milk to other people, and that way she'll have some money at least and would not be compelled to begging and stuff like that. So as long as these people, they are alive, and as long as they need my help, I think this is plenty of motivation for me to continue what I'm doing.
So what I understand from that is that one of your motives and one of your ideologies is one that you actually try to make people self-sufficient in a way that they can earn their own money and earn, stand on their own foot and have an honorable earning of their own, right?
Well, yes, just like I think all the other charities, the goal is to never have people dependent on you for food. The goal is always to make sure people stand on their own feet. But meanwhile you do that, you must also give them immediate relief because if they're worried about food right now, they will not be able to partake in any activity that can enhance their life in financial means. So for that to happen, you have to give them immediate relief. So that's why we also focus on that as well. And then there have been our organization has a Rozgar initiative program in which we have provided Rozgar to many individuals. We buy them rickshaws or like rickshaw rides and taxi rides like that, and we make sure these people stick to a contract that we sign with them, and then they are able to earn money for themselves.
Okay, that's amazing. So, switching a little bit the question, Firoz, tell us that how you came to choose psychology as your major or as a career, and does that have
Okay.
anything to do with your organization? I can see all the smiles, and I would definitely need answers to those smiles as well. But has that anyhow contributed to you making this organization, or is it vice versa or something? Do let us know about that as well.
Okay. So you see, psychology, when you understand its essence, when you understand why it came into its discovery, it is a humanistic. This is why the Department of Psychology is also called humanities, because this is about humans. This is about connection with other individuals on a very authentic level, apart from medicine, apart from all the chemicals, apart from biologies and everything. Psychology is something that offers a man to man experience with an individual. So this is interesting enough for me to continue. But in the first place, I have many reservations when it comes to psychiatry and psychology. For instance, I believe that therapies should not be because I believe that you cannot continue psychology as a professional career in a financial sense, but rather it should be something that you're really really passionate about, that you can do beyond financial reasoning. For instance, if there are people who need therapy and who are in need of mental health assistance, and if you're stuck on the financial motives, then I am afraid you're not the right person for this type of study,
Hmm.
because psychology is about pure authentic human connections. And if you if if you look at the treatment of psychology, psychotherapy, it is all about you connecting with another person and you listening to them for hours on a constant basis, on like weekly basis, and then they automatically, and then with your help, with a little bit of courage, they can figure themselves out and they can sort their life out, and then they can really be meaningful individuals, and then they can contribute something to the society rather than leading down and going down a dark path. So this is not about money, and I think this is why I was actually doing a research on this as well, that why is there an industrialization of psychology and clinical psychology, and why the rehabilitation centers are built on a profit margin thinking rather than as a healing community. So I have pretty much criticism on that area as well. So as far as I remain this person that I am today, I will not charge people for therapies. Like, I will give them options if they want to pay, but I would rather do it for free of cost, because I believe that someone should not have to worry about the financial means to have access to mental health assistance.
I really do agree with you in this point, because somehow, because when you are choosing a career, finance is something that पहले हम लोग ये कहते हैं ना कि नहीं नहीं, we are very passionate, but at one point it does becomes a concern. So your point is quite very valid, and I really hope that you know you can actually go out and give to the world the way you want to.
Hopefully.
So coming back,
Hopefully.
hopefully, inshallah. So coming back to the question, I think that would be the highlight of our podcast today. So that you mentioned that I've seen that you built your organization from scratch, right? So what we want to know from you is some sort of suggestions or guidance for the students or for the people who actually want to start such an organization or want to start such an initiative, but they actually don't know what to do or where to start from. So what kind of suggestions you would give to them, that where maybe they can start from or how they can build such a trusted and proper initiative? So, what's your say on that?
Okay, so the first thing is, I want to say that you have to understand things from a legal standpoint. Now, my organization, it is a registered organization with the government right now, because we had to make sure we are good on the legal standout. And then the other thing is, for people, firstly, I would like to say that if you are passionate about something like this, if you're passionate about helping people like that in that manner, you should first look around for other organizations. If this is yours, then maybe you can join hands with them rather than going on alone with your own self.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think there is something missing with these other organizations, if they're not doing what would actually be effective in a real time, then of course you have plenty of motivation to start right away on your own. But the first thing is, always ask yourself this: what you have currently, would you, as an if you should imagine yourself, would you be able to trust it with all its transparency and everything? Like, there, if constructive thinking, I would say, people take it very lightly. People think it's an easy thing to do, to be constructive critical, but I think it's very tough, because you have to be two different individuals, and the one has to oppose everything this one person says. So you have to think from these sides to yourself. Like, if you have something, an idea or a company that you want to focus on, then you must look at it from a very constructive point as well, so that you understand that if I am able to trust it, then these other people should also be able to trust it. And then what are the loopholes that are stopping you from joining hands with these other organizations? And then you make sure that you don't join hands with them that manner as well. So these are, aside from that, things that are far from logic and far from these other which is what is your true and inside gut feeling about what you want to do? Like, does it ache you? Does it ache your heart? Does it not let you sleep at night? If it's that intense that you know that it is something you want to do. Because to be honest, people have different lives. Some people sometimes you look at a person, you will not be even able to guess they are a generous person or not, but you wouldn't even know that this same person would be helping out thousands of people with all the money he has. So like, we should never underestimate people of what they have. So if you could be someone within your heart that you have like true passion for someone, like I met this woman once who were passionate about saving stray dogs in Peshawar, and she called me up, and she wanted some financial assistance on that. And I was so surprised with that. I was like, while we are so busy in our own selves, in our own self-centered world, and we are trying to focus on each and everything about ourselves, this one individual is out there making sure that the stray dogs are not shot or harmed in any other way. So like, you have to be really, really extra genius, or I would say extra compassionate to do or to decide to do something like that. And I believe each one of us has motivations like that. But and I want to say, this might be a radical thing to say, but I would want to say that do not take advice from anyone. Just because it is never a good idea to take advices on a startup, because whenever you want to start something and you take advice on it, people usually they tend to shatter it before it begins. So I suggest,
Yeah.
how about a little hard work? How about a little hard work in the dark, and how about a little focus and encouragement behind the scenes, and then before you present it to people, present it with a proper structure, and then the person who will be directing to reject it will have to think first before completely disregarding whatever you have to say. So let's not go to advices first, let's just do some work first.
I would really agree. Okay. So I would really, really agree with you on that as well, because I have personally seen a lot of instances. But the point of actually asking this question, having you on this podcast, and the purpose of this whole podcast is not if to actually get advices, but to actually give a spark of motivation that would, I generally feel, people would definitely have when they will listen to our podcast. So the purpose is not just to give advice, but maybe there are some people who are actually waiting for some kind of a motivation. So I guess that this podcast proves to be a dose of motivation for them. So yes. So moving forward and wrapping it up, my last question would be that what are your plans for your future, Arshad, about your organization as well as for yourself?
Okay, so
If you can
there's
quickly go over.
okay, so there's like, there's one thing about future that is really funny with me, and that is that there is no certainty about that. It is a complete chaos that we are heading towards, and we have no idea about it. No matter how much planning we have, future is the most uncertain thing that there is. And the other thing is, as far as this organization goes, you see, my goal is not to create a dynasty or a monarchy to sit on a seat and like not people let in. This is not my goal in this organization. I want to include people. I want to let people in who are smarter than me, who are intelligent than me, and people who can really, really be, because maybe I was more passionate 2 years ago. Maybe I'm not that passionate anymore because I'm doing it now. I'm getting used to it. So I'm always welcoming. So my plan is to like include people who would be able to include new things and new ideas, and maybe take this thing to the next level. And my goal is actually essentially is that to create a school for these people, for these children, and where we teach them the entrepreneurial skills, the psychological assessment. We teach them the skills, the necessary skills, and we give them the freedom that we never had in schooling. We give them the freedom that we never have had in universities. Like, I want to create a school where a student does not have to worry about a teacher's limitations, but rather he has to worry about what his own limitations are and what his own mind has to say. Because we can create scientists, I believe, at a very early level if we create that atmosphere. But if you keep me like a rat and give the teacher a stick every time I do something, then all I'm doing is you're conditioning me to learn very specific behaviors that if I don't come in the class, I'll get less marks. So then my motivation for learning goes away, and all I'm doing is sitting for the grades or whatever. So I want to create a system that's free from that, hopefully.
Okay, Arshid. So our last question would be that is there any place that the people can reach you out? Is there any information that would you like us for any kind of donations, any help, or if even if people want to join you, so where they can actually reach you out?
Okay, thank you, Vanya. So before I answer that, I want to tell you that uh, I want to tell to the audience or the people listening that you could be someone that has been through much more than I have, and you could be someone with much more potential than I have. So I shouldn't be the necessary ideal for you, but rather your own self is, I think, ideal enough if you look far deeper into your own self. So if people want to reach out, they can email us at info@streetchildrenpakistan.com, and then we have Instagram account at streetchildrenpk, and then we have a Twitter on the same name as well, and Facebook on Street Children Pakistan. So for most people, they can just visit our Instagram page, see our work if they like it, and then if they would like to make a contribution in financial means, they can tell us in which area they'd like to donate, and then we'll make sure their money goes to that spot and they receive the proof of their money being spent as well.
Okay, thank you so much for the information, Arshad. I really hope that you go places, and this was a wonderful talk with you. And I really hope that sometime we can also catch up together for your other projects as well. We had some short time, but it was really amazing talking to you. So, everyone, I hope that this was a very, very nice episode for you and very inspiring for you as well. We tried to do something different. So, see you in the next episode. So, good luck and Allah Hafiz.